of doing this.
Of
Could
course.
you tell us a little bit about what you do, what KitchenTown is?
Yeah, of course. So KitchenTown is essentially a launch pad for companies that want to launch products into the US market. They could be domestic in the US or they could be global. Like here we are in Japan. We work with a lot of Japanese companies, startups and large companies and anything in between. So the way we do that is for startups, we started as a food startup incubator. So we have been working with startups forever. Well, 12 years when we started, okay. And we started with a facility, a production facility, which we still have. And
In the US?
In the US, in San Mateo, California. So startups are invited in to the facility and they can start their companies there. There's production so they can actually make and sell products from there, start their company, start their brand, learn the industry and, pivot, succeed, move on from there. Okay.
So this is right from like seedling stage.
Yeah, they could be at any stage. They could be just an idea and they just want to work prototyping and starting that way. Or they could already have their idea. They could be, just going to market. Maybe their first iteration of packaging, their first iteration of product, and they want to get it out into market and try it out.
Okay.
See how it goes, get feedback.
Okay.
So classic startup, agile startup style, V1, minimum viable product and all that. This is the Bay Area, right? So we have all of that kind of history of the way you do things.
So do you invite startups to come in, or do startups come to you and say, hey, we have this idea and we need help?
It's a combination.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're very well known. It's been a while that we've been there. So if you have an idea for food, generally people come and check out, like, well, what can KitchenTown, do? Is there a fit here? How could this work for me? So, yeah.
Okay. So how did Japan happen? Why did Japan?
Great question. So Japan happened, I think, because the very first company, Ramen Hero, came to KitchenTown and started their company at KitchenTown. So a frozen ramen meal kit.
Okay.
So they started that at KitchenTown, and from there we met other people from Japan, and then I think we started working with Oishix, and Oishix had this platform for snacks, and they were very interested in American snack companies for their pantry, and so we worked with them, and just one thing led to the next, very organically, and over time we began to work more and more with companies from Japan.
So how many Japanese companies have you helped enter the US so far?
Well, we have a couple of programs. So we have these accelerator programs that we run, and I have to say, it's one of our skill sets. One of our expertises is running these programs. So through those programs, we ran a big program called Food Frontiers last year. Had 10 companies in it, and 6 of them, I'm proud to say, are in market today in the US. So it was really successful in that way. So 10 companies, other companies like Ramen Hero, and there have been some others that have come through KitchenTown. And then on the bigger company side, we've worked with at least a dozen corporate companies to help launch their products in the US or move them from Asian stores into mainstream.
Okay. What are the kinds of product innovation that you look for when you decide on, helping somebody?
There's so much innovation happening in food. It's a surprise every day when companies approach us with some new idea. Maybe we'd have some kind of a hypothesis about it. We want to focus on this, or that area, but we don't do that. So we see a lot of different things coming.
Okay, so do you have to determine how successful the idea might be, or is it just something that catches your fancy?
So in the accelerator programs, yes, there's a recruitment process, and we are looking at companies, and we are making an early kind of read on whether that product might be successful in the US, or the entrepreneur might be successful in the US because a lot of entrepreneurs start with one product and they realize that it's not a good fit and they pivot to another product. It happens all the time. So if it's a strong entrepreneur, they have the fundamentals, they learn the fundamentals, and they figure out that there isn't a product market fit, then the pivot happens.
What are some of the challenges that you find in working with such a model?
We've been lucky. I think, when you have a really strong team, and I feel like we have a super strong team. I mean, what you can't control sometimes is the level of interest, maybe, or the commitment. I think it's more like the commitment is the challenge. Like, how committed is this team? Because the recruitment process is relatively short. It's like you have a couple of interviews and someone is referred, so you have a referral. But, it's like applying for a job. Sometimes people are really good interviewers.
Yeah.
So you don't actually know exactly how it's going to end up.
You've launched six of the 10 Japanese companies?
Six companies have launched into the market
Into
in
the
the US.
market,
Yeah.
right. So the US has one of the highest rates of product launches every year. How, and also products fail all the time.
Absolutely.
And so how is that, how do you reconcile that? How do you know, is it okay? Is it just one of those things?
Well, it kind of is one of those things in a way, right? There's only so much you can sort of control in the position that we're in, right? You can offer, the best advice and, really try and, provide impact to startups and to corporates alike. So some are going to succeed and some are going to fail. And like the six that are in market, for us, it's definitely a success to see them get into market, because it's not just, we're in market. It's that they have a solid plan. Okay, they understand what it's going to take, the resources it's going to take to win in the marketplace, right? And they get it. And so hopefully you've given them, we've given them enough knowledge of the pitfalls that are ahead and how to, navigate those.
Right.
And then also it depends on what, how you define success. And every entrepreneur has their own definition of what success is. Some are extremely ambitious and they want to be, $100 million company in 7 years or whatever. Other companies are very happy to take a slower approach and to build something and see where it goes. And both of those can be successful.
Is your focus on Asia, or do you have plans with other parts of the world?
I mean, we're very happy right now working in Japan, with Japanese companies. It's a lot just to learn the layers of food and culinary and tradition from Japan, and we're very happy here doing that work. So we're not going out, we're not that sort of ambitiously going to Korea or to China or other Asian countries.
So the companies that have already gotten into market in the US right now, the six startups.
The startups.
Why have they looked at the US market versus the Japanese market? Because they are essentially local companies.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's an either or situation. I think that, when I think about it, most of the companies that are achieving success are in both.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, it's better if a company, has experience in the Japanese market first before they move to look at expanding into the U.S. market. They just understand business. They understand, a lot of it. A lot of it's just sort of growth as an entrepreneur, and so, I think most of them have successful businesses, in Japan first.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you what your favorite companies were of this.
Yeah.
It might be. I'm not going to make you choose.
Right. Don't make me choose between my children.
But I will ask, what are maybe 2 or 3 of the companies that really blew you away the first time you heard of them?
Oh my God.
Forget later.
Yeah, I mean, that's really hard because honestly, they're all really interesting and they're all really different from each other. They're so different. I mean, from, ice cream made from rice, so Kimish. It's really, an amazing product. Making something that creamy and delicious, that's much better than what's out there in the market. So love that product, right? Benny Bites, they created this sweet potato bar. And, I have so much appreciation for that because I love the Japanese sweet potato and how that's such a big part of the culture here, snacking culture, et cetera, and just like, oh my God. But to think of how does that get interpreted and localized for the US market,
Yeah.
to dream up this bar, that's brilliant. And such a strong entrepreneur, tremendously energetic. So, equally love that that product. Good Tay made just an amazing crunchy rice cracker that is really, very different from other rice crackers. And those guys are just so committed to, health and well-being and tremendous, just respect. So all of these companies, those are 3 examples, but the others are just as good. Orizai is so interesting with their, koji products and just like, oh my God, incredibly high quality. So on and on, really, one after the next. It's just different. So, I mean, that's what's so amazing and wonderful. And I think that our team did a good job of kind of collecting these very different companies. Hakoba, it's just an amazing sake company. So I could just go on because I really, truly do think that they're all quite unique.
It also sounds like all of the companies that have done really well are ones that have they're strongly rooted in their own tradition, but are also rejigging it for a more modern audience.
Yes.
And I
True.
think,
Well, and they have to do that.
Yeah.
Because America is completely different
Yes.
from Japan.
Yes.
Okay, there's a tremendous appreciation, huge opportunity for Japanese products in America today. Like right now, it's a great time. But you have to understand, and this is one of the biggest challenges for companies, large and small, is really getting your head outside of, the Japanese consumer and, thinking about the American consumer. And in some ways, it's easier for startups, I think, because they don't have like decades of time working in big companies. Now, the flip side is that in big companies, there's all of that experience. And in some companies, they're extremely smart and skilled and have great teams that have done their homework and done all of the market research. And those are wonderful companies to work with for us because they're so professional.
Yeah.
When you're thinking about launching products in the U.S., it's the fundamentals, it's the execution that really matters. Okay, and with bigger companies, you don't have to teach it so much because they know. And with smaller companies, you have to teach it and then help them get through it. But it's really the same work. Right?
Okay.
Identifying target markets, positioning your brand, making sure that this is a product that people need and not just something that you think they want. All of these things, right? And then, R&D, commercialization, and, go-to-market strategy, making sure you really understand. And this is something that in a lot of cases, bigger companies aren't necessarily really familiar with, those layers of distribution, and it's super complicated, and the resourcing of that is like really important to understand the financial implications for both a big company that always has a budget against something, and it's tight, you have to be like clear, and also the smaller company that has to prepare for all of that, right, and make sure they're resourced properly. So all of those decisions that you make around all of that is fairly complicated.
How do you get funding? Like how?
Us?
Yeah.
No, we are primarily a fee-for-service company, so consulting company, right? Mostly fee-for-service. We don't take equity in startups. We don't invest.
Right.
We don't have a fund, so it's pretty straightforward. Our business model,
Okay.
we get paid by the hour, basically.
It sounds like a really fascinating job to be able to work with startups every day, different kinds of startups every day, and just see what they're going through, understand some of the issues that are part of the product development, product market entry angles. So I am mildly envious.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is wonderful. With the startup programs, it's like Christmas every day. You get to see something brand new. Really, literally every day of the week, somebody comes to us with a new idea. So there's no shortage of new ideas at all, and no shortage of entrepreneurs. And we're just starting to really see that come to more velocity in Japan. In the U.S., it's constant. In Japan, it's really come along. Like, we've been active in the Japanese market for a good 5-6 years now, and when we started, there were very few Japanese entrepreneurs. Now, look at us at SKS, so many.